points on the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in on February 3rd, 2022, and Facebook stock just crashed. Yes, the stock is still up, but in terms of market value, this 20% drop is equivalent to Airbnb going to zero or Roblox going to negative $60. This was a very, very big move. If you saw Facebook in 2018, that was also a very big move in what followed, but on a single day move, even in terms of market cap, this has been one of the biggest days for Facebook. Now, this is important because today was a good day. We came off of the good earnings. We had bad jobs data, and we need to talk about that because it is going to relate to the data on Friday, but the earnings were so important after hours with Facebook, it brought everything down. So how we open tomorrow will be very key. Tomorrow is a setup day, but you still got Amazon, Snapchat, Ford, and a bunch of other companies in the morning. And then on Friday, we got a key jobs report, and I got a key breakdown you need to see. So you guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it has been in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch. Let's come to life, and yes.
Rollie on my wrist. Nah, I don't wanna rap that.
I'm sorry if that's been stuck in your head, me too. But right off the bat, like we said, today was a very good day up until Facebook. But in the morning, there was a little bit of cold water from the private payrolls. So this may not seem like a lot, but it is going to be important because it relates to what we are going to be getting on Friday. But what you saw today, again, there was good Google earnings, and that lifted up a lot of things, even there with AMD. But then after hours, you see what one of these bad earnings can do. So pretty much leading into Friday, we're going to get all of the big companies and the jobs report. So pretty much what you saw today, it is going to give you a sample day of what we experienced. But now coming into the jobs report, you can see here it came in at negative 301,000, but it was expecting 180,000. Now, this is the ADP private payrolls. It is different than the Friday one. The Friday jobs report is the non-farm payrolls, but this was something that stuck out to us here today. This right here is the actual result. You could see the rest of the distributions from all the economists and analysts, but there was one guy who expected it to be bad, Mr. Augustine Foucher, but even better, he also made a very similar estimate here for the non-farms on Friday. So you can see here the estimate is 150. The White House did warn. We covered this news yesterday. The White House said it's going to be a bad jobs report. So did the Fed. But now I'm watching this here. I'm expecting a negative print on Friday, and this is going to be the big catalyst. But what you saw today, the little signal here with the ADP jobs report, this is definitely what chilled the market out. Again, we were actually up a little bit and had a gap up, but as that data came in, we really did sell off. It was about 3 points top to bottom, and then the market opened, and we traded a lot at the lows of the day. So we did hold up. Everything was good. Now Facebook brings us back here, so it was an interesting day, but you're probably going to see another day like this. So like I'm saying, just be prepared for what we're going to get on Friday. But as far as tomorrow, it's probably going to be a digestion of bad tech earnings that we got there from Facebook. So we're probably going to watch it move around a little bit crazy. But as far as the earnings in the morning, there is still going to be a lot of industries and a lot of different companies. We're going to get Penn, NOK, Nokia, MRK, Eli Lilly, Biogen, ConocoPhillips, Honeywell, Estee Lauder, Ralph Lauren, Cigna, Snap-on, and Cardinal Health. And then aftermarket, these are going to be the big ones to watch. You're getting Amazon, Snapchat, Pinterest, Ford, Activision, Unity, Skyworks, Skechers, Fortinet, Clorox, DEC, BYD, Leslie, and GoPro. So we do got a lot on the table, and that's why I'm saying we got to see how good earnings and bad data played out this morning. We got bad earnings now, so we'll see what the market does in the morning. But essentially, after tomorrow, tomorrow, and after a lot of these reports, the final thing we'll be looking at the non-farms, and then it's a really exciting week or data week for February and the coming weeks. But coming to your first pretty picture here, this is what I want to highlight. We showed this on stream today. If you were looking at Google, again, it was a very good earnings. Even AMD, a lot of other tech stocks were up today. You could see the point contribution to the NASDAQ 100, not the overall NASDAQ, just the top 100 names here, but Google added 73 points, and then PayPal, we're going to talk about this one, but that subtracted 52 points. So what I'm trying to tell you is if you saw today, you could see how Google held up a lot, but now Meta, they were up today and not by much, and it was a contribution of 10 points, but now just imagine them tomorrow and then imagine Amazon. It is going to be a nice little battle here, so keep that in mind. But as far as my prediction, I mean, I've kind of already hinted at it here. I think it's very, very simple. If Amazon has a good earnings report and then the jobs report does come in bad as we kind of expect here, I think it'll probably look a little bit like today where it's not the best, but it's not the worst, but may have a little bit of an upside bias. But if Amazon does do bad and then the jobs report is bad, we may start to see that wave 3 develop, but we need the Fed to support that. You need the Fed futures to really play along because as of now, they have led the way and they have been chilling with how much we've been moving. So it wouldn't be surprising to watch Fed expectations stay a little bit and then the market kind of finds its footing in real valuation here. So that would be the real confirmation of wave 3. If people are really going to freak out, it's going to have to take a lot of bad earnings because we did get some good ones, and then we need the Fed futures and these fears of quantitative tightening and all of that coming to fruition. So like I said many times today, tomorrow is really the setup. It's going to be like the first step before you jump. I guess it's on deck. We're going to see how it's going to play out. You still got another set of big earnings that can kind of save things or limit it, but then Friday, that is really going to drive the move home. Do we really get a bounce week? Does it hold up? Are we going to be holding above the averages, or do we get a little bit more fear introduced to the market and people start freaking out again? So coming into the company news and events, I got the earnings recap for you right here. Facebook, they missed on their guidance, and that was probably the most important part, which was the worst. Their EPS also missed. They beat on revenue, and they really didn't give too much information about Oculus, and a lot of people were looking for that, but they did say the Apple problems are hurting all of the advertisers, so they threw everybody under the bus, but they said those problems are still affecting. Then Qualcomm, they beat and they made a massive guide, but they were light in some categories, mainly auto chips, and I think one more area was like info systems or Internet of Things, but they did do good on smartphone demand. So there was some areas that weren't the best, but overall, they absolutely killed it. And if you remember them last quarter, they had a very impressive guide, and they even guided further beyond that. So all of it is looking good. So that was great. Then Spotify, they missed on users and revs, and they got rid of their guidance. Again, a lot of their usage and just everything really missed. And this was a big point for them, but they did recover a little bit as the CEO was talking, and he was saying they did add more new users than any other quarter ever. So that was kind of a bright spot. We'll see how it plays out. Again, it is at that level that we bought it in on the long term now, or a little bit higher, pretty much the Joe Rogan level. So it's wiped out all of that. It is now came back to 2019 prices. This is definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. And then T-Mobile, they killed it and gave very good guidance for the full year of 2022. And then Costco, they beat all comparable sales, and even after like foreign exchange differences, they still beat, and it was very good. So they were already up before that. Both of those will probably be on fire tomorrow, but those were the main ones we're going to see tomorrow in the morning. But there was already a big enough effect with Facebook, and it affected a lot of different sympathies. So keep that one in mind. And then Jeff Bezos, I don't know how this news came up before anything. Honestly, it was pretty wild, but this was one of the most read here. His super yacht is forcing the dismantling of the Dutch bridge so that they could deliver it. The yacht is too tall and the bridge is too short. So shout out to Jeff, man. Yeah, we could all relate, Jeff. We could all relate, yeah. And then Apple, this one is going to be key for tomorrow because it does have a lot of implications, but Apple is urging the Senate to reject a bill that allows outside app stores. The vote is tomorrow, and if it does go through, it would allow consumers to install apps from outside of the App Store. So you could see why that would be a big shift to what Apple has been doing for the last like 20 years. Okay, pretty wild. But there was that, and then finally, the vaccine protests protest in Canada with the truckers. It is now hitting the 5th day. A couple of lanes have been opened up, but it's funny because this one came up on the news. Apparently, some of the truckers were happy that it is finally getting media attention, and they have opened up some lanes. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they want us to talk about it, so we'll see. There's a lot with it, actually, but other than that, there wasn't a crazy amount of news today. We did get a couple of political things. Again, more Ukraine stuff in the surface. Oil and some of the inventories wasn't too crazy. We did get the update from OPEC. Nothing new. If anything, it was all about the jobs report and earnings. And then after hours, Facebook took over the story. So we'll see what Amazon does tomorrow. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 or 4 different plays. Actually, a little bit more that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow, but there is 2 things you need to understand, or really mainly just one, but it is earnings season combined with the market. So now, after Facebook, tomorrow, a lot of plays, we are going to be at the mercy with how everybody digests it. If it does kind of bring this volatile attitude back and people get a little bit worried, or it messes up some of the preems and does that whole 50% top to bottom thing, it will be difficult. So you got to keep that in mind. But like we said a couple weeks ago, the market is pretty much still in Squid Game mode, meaning if you do good on earnings, you will be allowed to play for the next round and keep whatever gains you have. But if you do bad, you will get clapped. So that is affecting all of these plays. I did go for a sympathy play on Roblox. I was going after Facebook, but if the earnings is bad on one of them and they do bad, you see the attitude, anything is liable to get clapped. So coming into the first play, it's going to be AMD. And now this one's going to be interesting because it is post earnings, but it will get affected by the market tomorrow. But I'm seeing a setup that I've seen before, and it is just the age-old AMD post earnings. And on top of that, all of the other chip makers, especially after Qualcomm, they have all been stellar. So you could kind of warrant or justify some moves. But now, as far as the play, we did 2 different ones this morning. I started with the 160s for February, and why I did it, and this is why I like it, literally they shot up. They were going at like 60 cents in the morning, and then it dropped down here to about like 30 or 27 cents. So I bought 10 of them around like 32 cents, a little bit on the upside when it was going. They shot up. I sold half of them, 5 at 52 right before the top. It came down, and then when it came down, I did go for another double dip, but instead now I went $5 closer to the money because it did the same exact thing, and now I got to go closer to the money, the same amount. I bought 10 more of these, so it did end up holding up and it moved around a little bit, but the idea is I think it's going to be a delayed continuation. If you remember their last earnings, they had that pop, then the second day they were up and then went down and then they dropped, but then afterwards leading into the next week, it was a good earnings, and you could even see the volume here too. There was a lot of good things about it and all the other chip makers, so it did continue, and I'm pretty much expecting a delayed continuation. So what I'm going to be doing is watching these plays, but I brought this up. We'll see if we do get a little bit of a delay and it doesn't go by next week. These March ones will get clapped and we will need more time. But in the meantime, we talked about this on stream, and the big goal is if it does keep going down, we want to look at these double dip opportunities to pretty much get to the 140s or the 136s. And why I say that, because you can see all these other options. They may add more options to the chain, but right now it skews the value because each one of these is $5 out of the money from each other. Again, you see the $5 difference, whereas most of the other ones are only a $1 difference. So that's the plan with the average down, but I think there's going to be a lot of volatility. I think it's going to be a good post-earnings move. We will see how the market plays it tomorrow, but it may get supported with the general attitude with chips being good after the earnings. So that is the first play. Coming into the second play now, Ford, and I think they're moving here after hours, but I'm going after this one for the pre-earnings. We got the plays today. They went up about like 30%. There was even news of Ford partnering with Sunrun to bring a solar roof to the F-150. I thought that one was crazy, but stock moved a little bit about that, but at the end of the day, you got earnings tomorrow. A lot of the calls did come down, so I did decide to make a play, but like I said, again, I can't stress this enough. It really depends on the market that we get and how does everything respond, but just don't forget they will hold a little bit of premium here with earnings. They are after hours, so we'll see. If anything, I'll sell out half before the close. I did keep this one small, so we'll see how it plays out, but as far as the play, I went with the next week because, again, this one is just for earnings, but we grabbed these a little earlier in the day. I bought 10 of them at like 18 or 19 cents, I believe. Had a nice little move up there. It's like 20 or 30%, but we will see where it ends up after earnings and even tomorrow at the open. But that is the second play. Then coming into the third play, this one, I may be a little bit early on it, but watch out for PayPal, especially if we do get a bounce move on Friday. If the Amazon earnings and all that are good, I would definitely keep my eye out for it. We do still need the Square earnings, but essentially, day after earnings, PayPal keeps selling off. It has been bad, but the one thing I like, and it may need to come back down to 2018, 2019 levels, but in the last like 6 or 7 years so far, today was the most amount of volume traded on PayPal in history. So a lot of people moved around and maybe hitting that capitulation point. So we'll see if there's a lot of volatility opportunities, but I am definitely going to be watching them. And then finally, Walgreens, HD, and Abivai with a caution towards HD because it's kind of 50-50 in this category, but essentially watch out for the defensive names tomorrow and see if they could hold. Again, those Walgreens, those came back. We had old Abivai. They got a little bit clapped there, but maybe with the post earnings, they will come up. But both of those names held up, even HD. Just see if we get some of these names that were kind of creeping throughout the last couple days as we were bouncing. Those may start to rocket and hold, especially if we get volatility. But just to get an idea of everything tomorrow, I'm really going to watch these three names to see if, okay, is the tech earnings affecting a broader group, or is it kind of just focusing in on a couple of names like Snap, Pinterest, Twitter, and all of that? So those are the main plays. As far as everything else, all I did was take profits. We sold the Spotify puts before earnings, got about like 80%. I think they were up at around like 100 at one point, but got out of those. Remember, I closed some of them before the close yesterday, so I thought the earnings was in the morning, ended up being today, but we got a little bit of that move, and then I sold half of the Qualcomms for about 100%. If you remember that one we got at the beginning of the week, they went up to 200%. I'm still holding them. I held the ones for free, and then I got $120 on short-term puts for Qualcomm just to hedge because the gain turned it to like $1,000 worth of calls. And then I grabbed the Roblox play for the Meta Sympathy. This one's going to get clapped tomorrow, but it does have time, so could cover earnings. But I grabbed the April 130s for 53 cents, and I bought 10 of them, so we will see what happens. Roblo ain't been showing us love lately, but those were the only other plays. As far as everything else, definitely watch Facebook tomorrow, and there will probably be an opportunity to play the post earnings on that one, so keep your eye out for them. Snap, they report tomorrow. I'm really going to watch this, but they are even down 20% too, so that is a big deal. And then Google, watch if it keeps going up. I forgot I did make a Google play, and I grabbed 3 of the March 3650s for like $5 a pop. They went up 20%, but then ended up closing down 20%, but I am going to build a position on this, and I'm just playing the split news. And essentially, if you look at NVIDIA and even Apple, when they all did those splits, even Tesla, it does it in a pretty slow fashion. So even day after, this is kind of expected, but essentially in the next 2 weeks, I do expect this stock to be higher than 3,020 where it just topped out. So going to be looking and holding that one, but watch out for them. Then Ford, like we said, that'll be an exciting one. Then Amazon, I still got those calls. A lot of them are all clapped either 90%, and then that big $5,000 one is down like 50% now. So we're going to see this coming into tomorrow. A lot of expectations. I mean, Facebook earnings killed it. People were getting hyped, so we will really see what happens there coming into tomorrow, and then by the end of the day and close. But watch them. Qualcomm, we love them. Abivai, they ended up doing good, and even though there was a bad FDA approval for one of their generic drugs or generic competition, they were able to bounce, and that was good. Their earnings was actually a mixed bag, but overall good, so people like that. But watch them. Watch Baba. One thing I noticed, it was killing it every single day, no matter what the market looked like. It was outpacing, but today it dropped, so keep your eye out for that. We'll see next week when some of the China names open up. And then Skyworks, they report tomorrow. Just keep your eye on them with everything with Apple. They got to benefit a little bit off of that, and just overall, the general attitude for chips has been great. Then American Express, they were up today along with MasterCard. They sold off at the end, but MasterCard and AXP are near the highs. So you remember the earnings there with AXP. See if it does have a delayed continuation. I mean, it could be interesting. Then TXN, those plays that we had, they dropped like 50 to 70%. They are now up 20%. So still holding these, going to be watching them. But at the very least, after Qualcomm, I wouldn't be surprised to watch chip makers be a strong suit tomorrow. So keep your eye out for them. And then Spotify, just watch the back and forth. This one is going to be bouncy tomorrow because you can see it dropped a lot, still in the middle. I mean, there's a lot to digest. So we'll see what a lot of people end up saying as far as analysts and all of that. And we'll probably get a better idea. But then TLT and the dollar, it shot up today. It looks like it was going to set a new range and hint, but we're pretty much back to normal. normal. Fed futures calm down. I think we'll see what happens with bonds after the jobs report. That will be one. And then, like we said, coming into the CPI and all of that within the next few weeks, we will definitely start to see this move, or it may even snitch before that and show us the leading move. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydrate Healthy ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember. Gotta set a checkpoint, baby. But the Cole loves you. I love you. And we'll see you in the morning. Let's go.